Not be afraid. God is with you, bro. Quit thinking that you're alone in this journey. Quit thinking that God isn't always going to be there for you. Quit thinking that though you may be going through a storm, a deep storm, that you will never come out on top. I remember I was talking to my homeboy the other day, and how he was in his own head, right? In his own head about what he was going to do with his life. And he felt there was a dark cloud over him. He felt that there was no direction, that he had no purpose. And this is the thing, how God works. God uses different situations. God uses your life and puts you and gives you different opportunities to either go after that purpose or to try that purpose. And if it may work for you and it may not work for you. But not only that, God will test you and have you alone to see how strong your faith is. I remember reading Mark chapter 4, talking about how Jesus, who was on the boat with his disciples during a storm, and the disciples had grown worried. They started, Lord, a storm is attacking us. They were afraid. They were scared. But not only were they afraid and scared, but their faith started lacking. Because though the Messiah was with them, they thought that they would die. Mark chapter 4, verse 35. As evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they took Jesus in the boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat, and it began to fill with water. Now, verse 38 talks about this. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that you're going to drown? Teacher, don't you care that you're going to drown?" If you were in a storm, if you knew a tornado or a tsunami or some kind of hurricane was coming, and it was hitting your land and it was going to hit you in approximately 5 minutes, would you just leave, get up and leave? I know the first second I hear something like that, I'm sprinting, I'm gone. I'm doing whatever I can to pack my belongings and I'm dipping out, right? I'm dipping like chicken strips. But nah, for real, I'm not calm in that situation. But listen to this. Listen to what Jesus says. In verse 39, when Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Silence, be still." Suddenly the wind stopped and there was a great calm. Verse 40, listen to this. Then he asked them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples were absolutely terrified. "Who is this man?" they asked each other. "Even the waves and the wind obey him." Isn't that crazy? Jesus' own chosen people even, further recognize how powerful and how great Jesus was and is. They recognize that through what he did, he stopped the wind and the sea, and there was a great calm. This is the thing, Jesus wasn't afraid. Jesus wasn't worried because he knew God got him. But not only that, he knew his power. He knew who he was. The disciples, not recognizing this in the beginning, were super duper afraid. They were afraid for their own lives. They were scared. They were shouting, "Lord, do you not care about drowning? Do you not care about dying? Lord, do you truly..." Basically, this is almost like a test. The disciples are like, we are afraid. We don't know what to do. So their faith was lacking. This story is an exact example of why you shouldn't be afraid. Do not be afraid. God is always with you. God will never forsake you. God will never leave you when times get tough. God will never leave you in your darkest storms, in your darkest moments. God will never forsake you. And as long as you have faith, and as long as you keep your relationship with God strong, then worrying won't happen as often. I remember when I used to worry, like, bro, what am I gonna do with my life? And every day it's a journey. Every day it's 1%, 0.01% closer to the life I want. And the most important, the life that God wants for me. And whenever we walk this life, we cannot be afraid of an outcome, especially when we take a risk, we take a chance. Maybe we going after something that God sees for our life, and we we don't take that next step because we're afraid, or we're afraid that, somebody else would judge us. We're afraid that, people won't get along with us. We're afraid that we won't be successful. Don't be afraid, because you're going to have wins and you're going to have losses. And with every loss and every bad thing, every loss doesn't stay. Every loss doesn't last. And the wins after those losses will feel a whole lot better. But I want to let you know from this video, do not be afraid. Quit being afraid to take that next step. Quit being afraid to talk to God, to grow your relationship. Quit being afraid to become successful, to take a risk. Quit being afraid. Just as the disciples were afraid, just as Jesus questioned his disciples, do you not have any faith? Do ye have little faith? Do not be afraid. Think about that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you, and I hope you have learned something. Share this video with a friend who may need it. But thank you for watching. And as always, God bless.